All right, well, we are back on Table Talk Podcast, January 1st of the new year. Happy New Year to all, like, 4 of our listeners. Thanks for hanging around, Dave being one of them. We're here kicking off the new year with my good friend, Dave Kennedy. Hello, Dave.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Good. I just spoke for the whole group, apparently. I apologize.
I'm doing well.
We're all good. Dave, one thing that I don't know about you whatsoever, where do you live?
Clarksville, Tennessee.
Tennessee?
Yes, sir.
So do, like, people walk around with banjos in their hands all the time?
That's more Nashville than Clarksville.
Nashville. All right, fair enough. I've never been to Tennessee.
But you're the only 10 I see.
Wow.
I got to show myself out, don't worry.
Yeah, so as I said earlier, Dave, before we started recording, this was like a pretty last-minute get-together podcast, so I appreciate you coming on at such short notice.
Yeah, that's no problem. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Hell yeah. We're excited to talk to you. So, Dave, what do you do? What do you do for a living?
I am a 7th grade math teacher and a part-time woodworker.
Is a woodworker a carpenter? That's correct, right?
Kind of a little bit different. Carpenter. I don't really build houses or any of that stuff. I'm mainly like smaller stuff, furniture, specific pieces.
I have seen some of your work on social media, and your social media page is what?
Dirty Foot Woodworking.
Yeah, I've seen some of your work, and it's crazy. I could never do anything like that. It's crazy. Everything looks so clean. Like it's like anytime I see some of your stuff, I'm like, this dude made this. Like, that's not to say that you're incapable of doing it. It's just I'm incapable of doing it.
No, it's all good. It takes. I don't know. I'm a perfectionist from a long time ago, so sometimes it takes me longer than it probably should to make it. But I spend time like looking over the lines and all that stuff. So.
That's cool.
But it's fun. It started when I was about 5 years old with my grandfather. I was in this wood shop about 2 or 3 weeks. Every summer I'd go visit, and he would just take me in there, and he started showing me all the tools and how to use everything and just different stuff. So
that's cool. So do you consider yourself somewhat of a perfectionist?
Yes.
I can tell through your work. And I'm sure the guys are going to look at it once we get off of here eventually.
Get off here, I'll do it right now. What is it again?
Some of your stuff is really cool. Like really good work. Like it literally looks like it was made by a machine. I don't know if that's an insult to you or a compliment, but it literally looks like it was made by a robot.
Yeah. Well, I've joked around about being a robot, so.
So how long have you been a teacher?
This is my 8th year. I've started my 8th year. This is my 8th year teaching. I taught 3 years of 4th grade math and science, and then I went over to the dark side and went to middle school. So
the dark side.
Yeah. Middle school's a different animal. It's, the younger years that, they're still wanting to learn and be there. High school, they're like, hey, we've got this down, let's go, and I'm ready to get out into the world. And middle school is like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing.
Wow, I would have thought that high school would be the dark side. It's the middle schoolers you got to look out for.
Yeah, absolutely. We go through training every year, and some of the training we've been through, like developmentally, 7th graders, their brain basically shuts off. And so they have no clue what they're doing.
Jeremy's still in the 7th grade.
Shut up. I graduated barely, but I graduated.
So can you expand on what you just said? You said 7th graders' brains shut off. What do you mean?
I don't remember everything right now, but basically what happens is they're going through another growth phase in their brain, and it goes back to the frontal part of their brain developmentally, and so everything, their higher order thinking, all that stuff, in most students, not all of them, of course, but It just basically reverts back to like they're 5 years old.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
All right, so I have a 6-year-old daughter, so I guess I'm in for some weird times up ahead.
Yeah, probably
Great.
not. From what I've seen on your social media, you do a great job,
Yeah,
especially
appreciate
on
that.
science. And I do.
She's all right.
Yeah, I love it. I used to do that stuff with my kids when they were little. We would do all kinds of stuff, talk through problems, and so.
That's good. I think if we can get a little deep here, I think the reason why I try to focus on that so much is because I didn't have that growing up. And so, like, I can see, like, I kind of see my daughter as me sometimes. And so, like, there's almost like I have, like, a plan, like, if I have her, in a day, it's like, let's go over this because if, I was you, that would have been important for us to do that,
Right.
Like, so but I enjoy that. I enjoy teaching her stuff and learning new things with her.
Absolutely. And that stuff it won't go away. As she gets older, I still do that. My son's 16 and we still do some similar things, but it's just transferred to different avenues, different topics.
That's awesome. This is getting off of topic, but you did mention earlier, Dave, I was texting you and you had said like, oh man, I've seen basically all of your podcasts that you guys have. I just wanted to say like, thank you. That like means quite a bit that you actually like pay attention to our stuff and listen to us, because there's a lot of people that don't.
Yeah, well,
yeah, I appreciate
that.
Most people.
No, I mean, you asked me, if I was interested in being on the podcast. So, I mean, I think if you're going to be on something or just like going in for an interview, if you're going to go in for an interview, you research the company to find out about them. I thought, it'd be good to listen to the podcast and see what kind of topics you guys talk about. Loved them all. I think I still have a couple to listen to, but so far I've loved them all.
If you just start on like episode 3 and go forward, that's fine, because that was before I joined the ones before.
Yeah, thanks, Jesse.
Unless you want to listen to bickering between me and Jeremy, you can go back. But
although I did listen to our paranormal episode the other day again, and like I think I actually enjoyed it more the second time I listened to it. That was actually a really good episode. You got to give your sister a shout out again when you see her, whenever.
Whenever. It's just my sister.
Whenever.
Hey, are you boosting our numbers?
Huh?
Every time you listen, that's another listener. So is there a reason paranormal is like in the hundreds of views while the rest are in the 20s?
It's from Jeremy. He gets high every night, and he's like, "Oh, I've never seen this episode before."
It's a good time. Hey, so how'd you two get acquainted? Like, how'd you two meet up? If you don't mind me asking, because he said he's in Tennessee. He's a teacher.
Yeah, through Instagram. If I remember correctly, it was Instagram. Was it? I want to say it was one of the fitness things, FNX or something.
Yeah,
like
it was FNX supplements. We were both. Were you a brand ambassador or no?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's how we met. Okay, so we were both brand
was.
ambassadors for a short time for FNX, and we like chit chatted occasionally.
Yeah.
More so just commenting back and forth, just BSing, and then we started following each other on Instagram, and then we started talking, and then we're like, oh wow, we can actually be friends. Even though you're a school teacher from Tennessee and I'm here in Michigan. But no, we just kind of like naturally bonded, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. A lot of it had to, I think it started around with the music also.
Yeah, that was one thing that kept us conversing was music, because we had very similar music tastes. So, unlike the other two on this podcast.
Whoa. You already know I'll listen to anything you listen to.
Jeremy, I'll give you a pass. You listen to A Day to Remember. It's okay.
Don't be hating.
I'm not hating. And Jake's gone.
He's back.
I just realized he wasn't on camera.
Yeah, for that whole thing.
Oh, wait a minute. He wasn't here for the whole thing?
No, I got the beginning.
All right, so Jake, you're just going to have, when you edit it, you're just going to have to hear how we met.
Well, you guys met on Instagram through a fitness page.
Sure. And then there was like a lot of meat and potatoes after that, but, it's fine.
Yeah, that's all.
You got the synopsis. That's
all I needed. What do you need, Jeremy?
why are you raising your hand in Skype?
It was an
You have to go to the
accident.
bathroom.
This is where you speak.
Am I muted? Hello?
No. What?
You're not muted?
No, I accidentally clicked it.
Yeah, he's high.
You accidentally raised your hand.
I really, really wanted to get you on here. Like, I think it was like maybe, a month or two ago when I had initially had like asked you like, hey, would you ever be interested? Blah, 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 blah. Well, I like initially wanted to get you on here because I knew that you were like a math teacher, and I was curious what type of conversation we could come up with. Not because I know anything about math. I really don't. Like, I'm not looking forward to when my daughter starts getting into math, like hard math, because I feel like I'm going to be Googling stuff for her. But so I'm like, I'd like to consider myself scientifically inclined, especially when it comes to like physics.
Yeah.
And I feel like those two like go hand in hand. Like, there's a weird marriage between those two scientific disciplines. So I figured like we're bound to have some type of deep conversation during this episode.
Absolutely.
Even though I'm sure for Jeremy, what we've said already is probably blowing his mind. They bet on social media? Shit.
I'm a gamer, man. I have friends all over the country. I get it.
You don't have a friend that's a teacher in Tennessee. Well, I mean, now you might, but
I have a friend in Nebraska. I have a couple friends in Chicago.
Stop trying to show off. We're talking to Dave.
Show off.
All right,
We're not talking
this is why I mute.
We're going to get into a very deep physiological conversation here.
So, Dave, if we just want to like jump down the rabbit hole here.
Let's go.
One thing that will always stand out to me with like math or mathematics in general is that it's everywhere in the physical world that we live in. It's everywhere.
Absolutely.
So like, have you ever heard of like the Mandelbrot set?
I've heard of it. I have not researched it.
So it's like, I mean, we don't even need to get into Mandelbrot technically. We could just say, we'll use the layman terms. Like, there's repeating patterns in all aspects of nature.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
I think that ever since I was a kid, I remember, want to say it was National Geographic. It was like in the 90s. I remember I was watching an episode on, I can't really remember the episode, a long time ago, but I specifically remember them showing like a snowflake, and it was talking about repeating patterns, and then they would show like a snowflake, and then they would show like an object from outer space, and it was like shaped exactly the same like geometrical like length, or not length, but geometrical shape. And that like always stuck with me as a kid up until now. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, it is.
But yet I can't do simple algebra.
Now, you could. I know you could. But that's what I tell my students. That, math is patterns, and math is in everything we do every day. Anywhere you go, if you take a second and look, you'll see math. And math is all about patterns. That's what it is. So
can you tell me like when math became a thing? Do you know that, or?
It was long time ago.
20 years ago.
Yeah, no. Well, as far as when you say thing, that I almost want to ask what your definition of it becoming a thing.
Yeah, okay, so that was a really dumb way to ask that question.
Yeah, I mean, because we have Ptolemy and all the guys back in Pythagorean or Pythagoras and all that stuff that happened, back in ancient Greece.
Now, is that when it became like a part of like academia? Is that when Matt?
Well, I don't know.
Because that was in like what, 500, 600 BC or something?
Yeah.
Long time ago?
Yeah, really long time ago. As far as it with academia, I don't know the year, even a range. I couldn't say circa whatever year.
Not even ballpark?
No, I've never even thought about it, honestly.
You're not a math historian? Come on.
No, absolutely not a historian. Although I do have a few books I'm working on reading. I have Newton's book. I don't even remember the name of it now because I'm on the spot. And the Principia. The Principia. I have that one. I bought it a couple years ago. I've been meaning to read it, but yeah, I like all that stuff. Geometry. It's amazing, all the math. And people say, "Oh, I'm not a math person." Well, that's because you haven't practiced.
Jeremy.
It really, that's what it is. And I don't mean to offend anybody, even listeners or whatever, but it really is. I mean, if you practice, you'll get better.
I tell my daughter like all the time, she'll get like frustrated when she can't do something. And I always tell her, like, practice makes perfect. It's super cliche and it's like a Hallmark type of reference, but it's kind of true.
It is.
Yeah. Well, and I tell my students, because I have athletes, they're middle school, so they're starting to get into sports and stuff. And I tell them, if you're having trouble with a specific play, what do? Well, you keep running it over and over and over until you get it right. Well, it's the same thing with math. If you just do it once and then give up, you're not going to learn it. So you have to, get help, watch videos, whatever you got to do. But you keep practicing.
Are you, you probably know since you teach it, but so there's like, when it comes to overall intelligence with like the learning brain, so like a younger brain, or just when you're in that like learning induced mode and you're learning a new skill or whatever, there's certain topics, skills, things that you can do that generally speaking increase your overall intelligence. Now math is one of those. Mathematics in general is one of those things. Like I've never met a dumb person that was good at math ever.
Right. Yeah, I agree with that.
Well, how does that make you feel that you're like a part of that?
Part of what?
You're teaching kids like a very important skill.
Oh, it's huge. And I hope if any of my, I'm not going to go there because that would offend quite a few people. But it's huge. I mean, teaching math, it's literally problem solving, but it's also figuratively problem solving because you're learning how to work through situations and persevere through something that you're having trouble with. So when you get, outside of school or in life, you come across a problem. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to analyze it. You're going to see what's involved, and then take the steps to that you need to do. Whether you call somebody or whether you fix it yourself or whatever it may be. But you're sitting on the side of the road with a flat tire. You got one or two things to do: sit there and wait for somebody, or take action. That's problem solving, and that goes back to math.
That's really cool. You should be proud of that. I hope you're proud of that.
I am. It's huge. I get serious in the classroom. I get serious. I like to have fun, but it's a serious thing. It's people need to learn it, need to know it, and the biggest thing with middle school that I found is it's the confidence level. It's not that they can't do it; it's they don't have the confidence in themselves to do it. And I have students that'll do it right from start to finish, what we're doing, and they'll constantly, is this right? Will you check this? You're good. I've told you. Trust yourself If you know the process, you walk through the process, you're fine. And it doesn't have to be, I mean, I also tell my students, and I know you know this being in science, but there are multiple ways to get to the same solution. You know, and I tell my students, you know, we live down here, but, you know, if you're going to Atlanta or Detroit or Chicago or whatever, how many roads do you see when you look on the map? You see hundreds of your roads that you could take. We all end up in the same place. So that's very similar to what we do in math. Have students, I always try to push mine to say, hey, well, you found one way to do it, and that's probably the most common way. See if you can find another solution path to get to the same result. So it pushes them to think at a higher level.
That was a really good analogy.
Yeah.
I can tell you're a teacher. Because you explain that really well. I'm sitting here and I feel like a 7th grader. I'm like, wow, I actually understand exactly what he's talking about.
They don't always do it, but I try to get them to.
All right, real quick. I have one question.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Jeremy's got a question for you.
Do you
Jeremy,
believe...
can you...
What?
Oh, you stopped yourself? That's good. I had some things to ask. So, David, you live in Tennessee, right?
I do, yeah.
So I know you mentioned the town earlier. What area is that in? Because I'm not familiar with Tennessee very much.
It's an hour north of Nashville. It's like western middle Tennessee.
Now, obviously, being a teacher, this is going to sound very bad. However, I'm working the way to Jeremy's question. Are you surrounded by wilderness for the most part, or are you more in the middle of a city?
I'm in the city. Clarksville, I want to say a couple 100,000 people.
Okay, so pretty big population.
Yeah, pretty good size.
Okay, Jeremy, you can go ahead.
That number may not be right.
That's all right.
But I don't keep up with the population, but it's huge. It's pretty good size city.
All right, estimate's close enough. Jeremy, you can continue.
All right. I know you probably heard this in the past podcast, but real quick, do you believe in Bigfoot?
I believe there's something out there. I haven't followed a lot of it, but I've, you know, it's hard to deny some of that stuff.
Okay.
So you believe something is out there. So you're okay. So then I think.
I'm absolutely open to any of that stuff. That's why
I think the last podcast we did, which never made it because the audio was so bad. Rest in peace. Last episode. So if you were to wake up tomorrow and you turn on the news and it says Bigfoot has been captured, would that affect your world at all?
I don't know that.
Would it occupy your mind for the day?
Now I have knowledge I didn't have. You know, I have knowledge now that I did not have previously to confirm it. So it's going to affect it, but it's not going to affect it in a negative way for sure.
I'm not going to be like you wouldn't be mad.
There's a whole race of Bigfoot people out there. No, and there might only be one. We don't know.
All right.
I always tell people you need to stay open-minded to stuff. You know, if you close your mind off, you're going to close off a lot of opportunities, I think.
That's very true. I think, Jeremy, this is the first guest in a while that said that they were at least open-minded about Bigfoot. Normally when we have somebody on, they'll be like, no.
Okay, I guess I'll go fuck myself.
I forgot about Jeremy asking that question, but I listened to it, and he always asked that, and I was like thinking before I got on, I was like, he's going to ask that, I'm sure, but I completely forgot until he brought it up.
See, what I'm secretly hoping for is that we're going to have somebody on, and Jeremy's going to ask the question, and then that guest is going to go down a rabbit hole of Bigfoot on how they believe, and because that's just going to make Jake's day.
Yeah.
Well, we might have one of those scheduled soon, so.
So Jeremy, while we're waiting on Jake, texted Jesse earlier or yesterday, whenever it was. You remember? I asked you. I said, "Dude, when I was listening to those podcasts, I was like, oh, I know this voice. That voice, dude. I'm telling you, you sound just like Nick Swartzen. Have you ever been told that?
I'm gonna go.
Oh, that's so good.
Have you been told that before?
I've actually not. I've gotten several other things. Like anytime I go somewhere, everyone's like, "Oh my god, you sound so familiar." It's got to be that.
Oh,
I'm really
man,
glad that you told him that.
I heard your voice, I was like, and the pattern, everything. I was just like, now on here right now you don't. But when I was listening to the podcast, not as much. But when I was listening to it the past few days, I was like, that sounds just like him.
Oh, Lord.
It was tripping me out.
That's funny.
It's really good. I wish I could sound like a funny celebrity.
No, you just sound like a narcissistic asshole.
Yes, sir.
That's why we get along.
Also, yes. Dave, you got any? Okay, so I almost asked another stupid question.
There are no stupid questions.
Well, it was because you already answered it earlier. So let me repeat it. Besides woodworking, what do you do, like hobby-wise?
Well, it's been about 5 months, but I used to work out. I'm trying to get back into that.
I remember those days.
Yeah.
We would send each other a text every day, like, "Hey, get your ass out of bed and go work out."
That's right. Yeah.
Hey, that worked a couple times.
Yeah, it did.
There was a few times where I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not going to the gym," and then you'd be like, "Good morning, get out of bed and go to the gym."
Yeah.
Be like, "Yes, sir."
Oh man. Games, puzzles. I've got and you saw my mug collection. I'm big into Star Wars, so a lot of Star Wars stuff. But puzzles. I like to do puzzles, jigsaw puzzles. Put them together, glue them, and then hang them up on the wall. Frame them.
Really?
Hang them up. Yeah. But yeah, a lot of puzzles, a lot of, like those brain type games and stuff. My son and I have been playing games the past few days, and he's trying to beat me, and he hasn't beat me yet. And some of them are just basically luck; it's just chance. And he gets so triggered when I beat him. He's like, "I'm gonna win at something. I've got to find something." He started looking at. I got one of those like 6-piece or 6-game set thing with chess and checkers and Scrabble and a couple other things in it, and it had cribbage in it. And he's looking over the cribbage stuff, rules and all that. He's like, "I've got to win at something." I was like, "Cribbage, really?"
Like that's what you're gonna pick to win at?
It's like an old person game, I think, isn't it? It's like a racetrack on a wooden piece of something. I don't know, but yeah, he was. We played 4 or 5 games the past few days. It's hilarious, but yeah, that kind of stuff. I used to do a lot of hunting and fishing, but that's kind of gone by the wayside. I still have my fishing poles. I golf. A lot of stuff outdoors, camping, anything really outdoors I like to do.
That's good. Did you ever, like back in the day when your kids were younger, did you ever do that with your children?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'd go fishing. I'd take them to Land Between the Lakes, and we'd go fishing and camp out a couple of times and stuff like that.
That's good. No, yeah. So like growing up, that's the one thing that like thankfully my family did every year was go out into the middle of nowhere and camp. Yeah. And so I've always enjoyed nature and being out in nature. And you've seen like the stuff like where I'll be at and on social media and whatnot. And I always take my fiance and my daughter, and we just love being out in nature because I think for like the young kids that's super important.
It's very important, yeah. It's very important.
And there's a happy medium, like, sure, we'll go out into the woods and we'll have fun and we'll take pictures and we'll see all kinds of cool animals. And then we come home, we'll watch TV, we'll play video games, we'll do schoolwork, whatever. So there's like this happy, like good balance between the two.
Absolutely.
And I think that's important, for kids, especially at that young age when their brain is just exploding with new things.
Right.
Because my daughter just loves being out in the woods.
That's how I grew up. We'd go camping literally 3-4 times a year.
You're another example of that balance.
Yeah.
Like you stream all the time, but yet we're filming a documentary about Bigfoot in the middle of nowhere.
I mean, I haven't streamed lately because it's just trying to get back into work now. So, because I was jobless for 2 months, so getting back into a sleep schedule and everything. I've been there 3 weeks, and it's still really hard to get.
Yeah. Well, taking 2 months off of anything is really hard to get back into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up going out camping almost every year, multiple times a year. Go to this church camp all the time. It was like a blast. I mean, growing up, and then I went hunting with my dad a few times when I was younger. Then when I got older, over 18, he came out with me. We were hunting together again. So it's just, and then I was also a gamer. I played competitively in a couple different games. So I had that happy medium where I could do both.
MLG over here.
Yeah, right. I wasn't that good.
Hey, it's MLG, Major League, Go Sicky. What's up? He's back.
Maybe.
You're muted again.
Maybe.
There you go. Dude, you missed so much.
Everything good?
2021's off to a hot start.
Dave, question.
Yes, sir.
And it's okay. Oh, hello, Jake. It's okay if you haven't heard about it, but I'm curious. Are you aware? Now, this is referencing both geometry and physics. Are you aware of what's called the phenomenal space?
No.
Okay. Here we go.
I'm interested.
So, phenomenal space is the marriage between mathematics, geometry, and physics. And it's like a geometric space of intelligibility. Jeremy, that word was intelligibility. He's going to look it up right now.
Similar to intelligent.
Yeah, so it means like it's a fabric of space-time that is, you can manipulate it because you're in it.
Okay.
So like a phenomenal space would be everything in my surroundings right now. I can reach over and move the microphone. I can turn down the volume. It's a fabric of space-time that you can manipulate based on whatever you're doing. What would be just regular space would be where I'm not.
Okay.
Because I can't manipulate it, I'm not there. So the geometric intelligibility of space is probably a product because we as humans from whether it be 600 BC or whether it be the Sumerians or whoever was before them, we always try to find like sensibility within space-time, like within everything. We always try to find like a meaning, which is probably why mathematics exist, because of patterns, and we're trying to calculate things. Physics solely exists because we're trying to understand the actual matter, of space and time.
Right.
I think that's a really cool thing to think about, whether you're sober or not, Jeremy, is the fact that human beings are always trying to find meaning in things, whether it's through their actions, their thoughts, spoken language. Like everything has to have a meaning.
Right.
I wish we had like an alien in the room so that way we could have someone who like doesn't experience that every day, because that's just a quality of human beings. I mean, you look at like a cat. They probably don't have the same thought process as we do. Like they're not finding a meaning behind anything. I mean, it's a cat, right? And I love cats. No bashing on cats, but Yeah, that's like a weird quality of a human being, is that we have to find meaning in stuff.
Yeah.
Like, we always have to be manipulating what physics would call phenomenal space.
Right.
We're a bunch of weirdos, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, we are.
Like, we always have to have control of everything.
Yeah.
No thoughts on that, Jeremy?
No.
Here, I'll do you one better, Jeremy. So a phenomenal space doesn't always refer to like an objective reality. Jake's ears just perked up.
He doesn't know what that means. You have to dumb that down, please.
Okay. So, Jeremy, this is for you. Reality can be changed based on a totality of circumstances, okay? So, good example is hold on. Good example of this would be the double slit experiment, which was done by physicists a long, long time ago. And it was when you look at an electron, like physically look at an electron, it moves and behaves as a particle, because that's what it does. And if you didn't know that, we could just agree on it. You can look it up if you want, but that's what it does. But when you indirectly observe, so now that we've observed this electron, we've seen it behaving in a certain pattern as if it's a particle. That would be a subjective reality. That's something that we're observing personally. We're seeing it with our own eye. Whether it's true or not, we believe it because we see it. We're experiencing it. When you look at an electron indirectly, so with like instruments that can calculate movement of an electron, calculate its behavior, what it's doing, when you observe an electron indirectly, objectively, it behaves as a wave and a particle simultaneously. But when you look at it, it stops and it goes back to being a particle. So the reality of an electron, because there's repeating patterns in nature everywhere, Dave, I feel like because the reality of an electron can change based on the totality of circumstances, whether or not we're actually looking at it or we just know that it's there, but we're not looking at it. I almost lost myself here for a second. Jeremy, do you have any more drugs? like
no comment.
I actually just lost myself in thought. Jake,
Jesse,
how could you let this happen?
I really appreciate you trying to understand. However, this is backwards, but you can make out what it says.
Well, I actually can't because it's blurry.
Jeremy is too high to understand.
And, but we knew that going into it.
He's beyond half-baked. He's fully baked. He's sipping his Mountain Dew, not knowing what's happening.
That's why
he's going to listen to it later, and he still won't know what's happening.
I'm on a podcast.
Yes, you are.
We can verify this.
Yellow.
Sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
So,
continue.
Man. Who did I talk to before? So I had a conversation a few months back. I was speaking with a friend of mine. He's a nurse. He's also a health coach, but I was speaking with him about, I think we were talking on the phone, and he asked me, like, what is it like to have kids? Not like, in a weird way. Like what is it like to be a parent? And I told him, I was like, well, it didn't really hit me until my daughter was a little bit older, but I started seeing her as an individual, and I started seeing her when she was doing something, I tried to imagine holy shit, she has a reality to her own, she's her own person. So I'm sitting here and I'm drinking a Rain energy drink, and it tastes really good. Mango Mania.
The mango is good.
I'm having a podcast with some pals. Looking around the room, like I'm interacting with my environment, my own phenomenal space, Jeremy. But so's my daughter, and like it's weird because I can't experience it the same way that she's experiencing it because it's her own reality. And like we started talking about that, and we were like blowing each other's minds, like just talking about because he was like, "Oh my God," he's like, "I never thought about that before," and I don't even know what the hell I'm trying to get at. I keep losing my thought. Hey, Jake, you're going to have to edit the shit out of this.
Doesn't he always, though?
Yeah. Yeah, that is true. Even when we have a really good one, you probably have to edit the shit out of it.
We always get off topic. I say something stupid. Jeremy doesn't talk, so I got to fill that in. You go off topic.
And then our guest always sits in the corner of the screen going like, all right, let's just
wrap this up.
I'm pretty sure all these guys are high right now.
Oh.
So what were you trying to get at with your nurse?
I was still on the topic of reality.
Okay.
And the whole point of speaking with him about that is we were talking about like how people need to be better at understanding people's circumstances.
Okay. Absolutely.
And like I kind of used my daughter as an example. I'm like, you can ask my fiance and she'll verify. I mean, I get mad sometimes with my daughter, like impatient. I mean, she's 6, so I mean, she's gonna be annoying every now and then. I mean, we all were at 6 years old, so it's like I get impatient, and you know, I'm stressed as a parent sometimes. You know, Dave, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, I mean, it happens. Even if you love your kids to death, every now and then you're going to be like, ugh. You know? But, like, when you stop and, like, I started to think about my kid as, like, an individual person and, like, her world is just as real as mine, sometimes that helps. It doesn't always help because I'm not always sitting around thinking about these things. I mean, you know, I'm not Marcus Aurelius. I'm not a stoic. But every now and then that always creeps into the back of my mind, and I'm like, okay, I need to relax. Like, she's just as real as I am, in a way, as weird as that sounds. But
yeah, no, it makes complete sense. And I guess I was kind of waiting for a question earlier, but yeah, it makes complete sense because I was the same way. My daughter's 19, my son's 16. I have a stepdaughter that's 31, I think. But yeah, when they're little, you know, you're like, well, why don't you understand this? You like, I've told you, but their reality, they don't process, they don't think about things the same way. So their reality is going to be different. And I'm the same, you know, when I was younger. I'm 46. When I was younger, I didn't think about that stuff as much. But as I've gotten older and hopefully a little bit wiser, probably not, but I thought, you know, you think, you're like, wait a minute now, stop being an asshole. You know, they've got their own thoughts, and what they perceive is what they perceive. It's their thoughts and their reality. Love you too, back there. So it's, you know, it's different. You know, you just need to listen and understand that just because it's not your thoughts and the way you interact and the way you see things, that doesn't mean it's wrong or right or different or what. I mean, it is different, but it's not wrong or, you know, whatever. I kind of got off mine too, but I think we're all going down this deep hole.
We're all getting like intellectual brain freeze.
Yeah. But yeah, just listening and understanding that it's different and that, you know, being open. That's why I try to say I try to stay open-minded about stuff because, you know, my background, the way I grew up is different than the way they grew up. And I tried to do better in their childhood than what I had in my childhood. Give them more experiences, take them places and kind of see the world to give them a better understanding of reality and experiences, especially socially, because I didn't go out, very often with my parents. I stayed at home a lot, and we did a lot of stuff as a family, but that kind of, when I was ready to leave home, I wasn't ready because I didn't have the knowledge and experience and stuff that I needed to be successful, really. And my daughter is 19. She's in Chicago. Well, she's here now, but she's going back to Chicago for school. At 19, 18, I would have never gone to Chicago.
Hell, I won't go to Chicago now.
Yeah, when I go to get her. It's typically midnight when I get there because I leave after school to go pick her up on a Friday or whatever we're doing. And it's usually midnight when I get there. And so her area is, it's not very busy. So I come in, and then we're out. I don't do a whole lot. We've gone to the Bean and a couple other places, the Pier and stuff like that. But yeah, even now, she's 19 and her reality is different. It's going to change.
Yeah. And Jake's gone. Hey, Jeremy.
Yo.
Make sure that when you do re-listen to this, you give me shit about the tangent I went on and then crashed and burned. I know for a fact Jake's going to give me shit about that next time. Yeah. I tried really hard.
Oh, yeah, he definitely will.
Yeah. Perhaps I need to prepare more when I go on a physics tangent.
Yeah, and let your guests know what you're going to talk about.
Well, hell, whenever we do that, we never even talk about what we say we're going to talk about.
Yeah, no, I'm just giving you a hard time.
Hey, give me a heads up, asshole.
I'm a teacher in my 8th year. A lot of times I wing it anyway. I hope my admin's not going to listen to this. A lot of times I wing it anyway.
Yeah, don't give me their names. I'll send them a direct link.
Yeah, I won't.
Hey, check this guy out.
Yeah, my fiance is actually a teacher, and she does elementary special ed. So, it's just when I was not working, she's working from home, obviously because of COVID, and some of her kids they could be wild. Yeah, I couldn't do that.
Hey, Jake.
Yes.
I did forget to tell you one thing that you did miss is that Dave said that Jeremy sounds exactly like Nick Swartzen, the comedian.
I won't say he's totally wrong. I think because I know Jeremy too much, so I don't even think of Nick Swartzen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see that a little bit.
And it was just the voice through the podcast, but when I heard his voice, I was like, wait a minute.
No, what we could do is we could just say that we have Nick on an episode. But just not do video and just see how well we can get away with it.
Well, Jeremy, you have to go in your settings, change your name to Nick Swartzen. Well, fool somebody. So that was the one thing I missed, because I missed about, 34, 35 minutes so far.
No, you definitely missed a lot more, but we're not going to tell you what you missed.
Thanks. I'll just listen to it. I'll be like a listener. Holy shit,
get those numbers up. Get the numbers up.
That's right. I'll have to keep
even if they're from us. You gotta get the numbers up. Oh, man. That was when Mike and I started our YouTube channel, Big Whoop Magazine, 5 years ago. And we were, uploading videos like crazy of our video game playthroughs. And I remember I, texted Mike one evening and I'm like, bro, we have 9 views on our one video, and he's like, dude, we don't even have subscribers yet, that is from us watching the videos. And I'm like, oh shit. Man, the good old days. Yeah, Dave, if you ever want to be highly offended and bored, I have a YouTube channel Big Whoop magazine, and we play through video games, my buddy and I.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's very, very vulgar.
So
but it's
if
a lot
you
of
ever
fun.
want to be offended and bored while watching something, you should check out Jesse's YouTube page. Apparently,
it's a good sales pitch.
We got to come up with a better way.
If you ever want to subscribe to a regret,
we should do that.
Oh yeah.
Hey, this is an off-topic question. Is David Attenborough still alive?
Yeah, he just posted something the other day.
Did he?
Yeah. I think he was talking shit, but yeah, he's still alive.
You should message him and just.
I should message
just
David Attenborough.
See if he'll throw you a bone.
He won't.
Could you imagine David Attenborough's voice and be like, "Have you ever felt bored? Have you ever wanted to be offended?" And then it's just a montage of your videos.
And it's just me and Mike just swearing.
Yeah, it's a picture of Mike.
Oh man. I don't know. I think I'd like to think that I write pretty well. I could probably write up a good sales pitch for David Attenborough.
He might never see it, but sure.
Yeah, he would never see it.
He's got people for that.
I need that for my stream, man.
What?
So I need that for my stream. Everyone be bored
You need
and offended.
David Attenborough for your stream.
You want to be bored and offended?
Oh man.
Have you ever wanted to be bored? Come watch Jeremy Carter's Twitch.
Oh, now you're gonna make him sad.
www.twitch.tv/it's_GG.
I was gonna say he doesn't even know his own fucking handle.
I'm gonna edit that out so it's censored.
www. Oh man.
My brain beats is lagging right now.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey, Dave, since you're smarter than me, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want to know if I'm right.
Okay. I'm not smarter than you, though.
You are definitely smarter than me.
Well, we'll see.
You're actually color coordinated, and I'm not, so you are automatically smarter than me. And yes,
it's hard to color coordinate when your whole wardrobe is blue, though.
Look, all I'm saying is you're dressed nicer than me right now, okay? I'm giving you a compliment.
All right.
So, 0 is technically an even number. Is that correct?
Technically, yes.
Yes.
I
wish my mom was listening to this. She'd be proud. She'd be like, "Oh my God, he's not an idiot." Okay, so I was trying to figure that out, and then tell me if I'm wrong. Actually, don't just go along with it. 0 is a whole number always, because if you divide it, say, into 2, it will still become equal parts, being that of 0.
Yeah, you can divide 0 by a number, but you can't divide any number by 0.
And now I rest.
Yeah.
And now my head's gonna hurt.
That's gonna be my contribution to this episode.
Half of nothing is still nothing.
All right, I can mark that off on my notes.
Yeah. Well, and if I can go a little bit on that 0 being an even number, the logic is with the 10, 20, any number that ends in 0 is even, so 0 is even.
Nice. Yeah, my note literally said, it said, "Ask Dave if 0 is an even number, question mark." Whoop whoop. All right. Hey, Dave, do you believe in aliens?
I do.
Okay, so then this has to be my next question.
All right.
Oh Lord.
Only because no. Only because you and I actually know each other pretty well.
Yeah.
So you are religious, correct?
Yes.
And I feel like it's just because of the people I was around growing up, because I grew up in an extremely religious household.
Now, I didn't grow up really. Definition of religious. I believe in God. I believe in faith and all that. and I go to church. I've gone to church. I haven't been in a while, but it's, I don't know. The definition of religious is like.
Well, I mean, I obviously am using it in very general terms.
Okay. Yeah. I just don't. Yeah.
So, like, my question to you, because growing up, for me, we couldn't believe in aliens.
Yeah.
Like, it was like sacrilege if we believed in alien life. That's why I find you so interesting. Well, one of the many things why I find you interesting is that you are like you're a pretty confident religious guy. Like I've had conversations with you before, and I respect the hell out of that because I mean it makes you like who you are.
Absolutely.
But yet you believe in aliens. How does that work?
How can we be so arrogant to think that God only created us?
Dave, I'm so happy you're on this podcast.
I can't imagine us being the only ones in the universe. Like that's to me, that's arrogance.
I love that answer.
Yeah.
I just had to get that out because I've actually wanted to ask you about aliens, but it's not one of those things where I can like shoot you a text on like 2 p.m. Thursday and be like, "Hey Dave, what do you think about aliens?" And you're gonna be like, "The hell." I needed to set up a platform.
This guy's a fucking weirdo asking about aliens.
That's right.
Yeah, that's good. You got a good brain in your head, Dave.
Well, I appreciate it.
We appreciate it more. Jake, what do you got? You got anything? Got anything, Jake? Oh, nope, he muted me. Stand by.
That's right.
He needs to put the Jeopardy theme song here.
Anytime.
And I'm back. So sorry. So two of you know. So my wife's currently 40 weeks pregnant.
Oh.
So that was her coming in and out. I've been helping her a little bit. So sorry for the delays.
We had figured that was your wife.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I didn't know Dave. He just just some woman in the background. You don't know. And she's blurred.
I don't even know who the hell this woman is.
All right, there's people walking in my house. So what were you? Do I have anything like on aliens? What do you mean?
No, I mean, you got any questions for Dave? Want to pick his brain about anything? He's smarter than us. Come on.
The problem is, I don't know if this was already talked about. Let me look it up because it was the word I didn't know how to say earlier. I'm still not going to know how to say it.
Onomatopoeia.
Don't ask me about English stuff.
No, wait a minute.
I'm math and science, I'm good. Maybe a little bit of history, but not dates and names. Strategy stuff, yeah, but not math and science.
I'm going to spell it because I don't want to sound stupid. E is an Edward. N-N-E-A-G-R-A-M.
Enneagram.
Can you please explain that for somebody like me?
Well, there are a lot of people that are more versed in it than I am, but it's basically there are 9, I think, personality, core belief type things. And then you have wings. The wings part, I not completely understand, but basically it's based on your core like beliefs and values and stuff, and how you would act or how you would make decisions in situations. I've been reading on it and watching videos or listening to podcasts on it, and there's a person that a former coworker who left teaching to start her own business as a coach, and she does a lot of Enneagram stuff. Stephanie Cook is her name, but she I learned some stuff through her because she was our school psychologist. And so she got us, the whole school in the library. Hey, let's answer these questions, see which one is closer to you. And so when I did it, I answered them and I got a number. That number basically tells you what kind of personality type based on your core beliefs. So it's a little bit different than the one that gives you the EN, whatever, the extrovert and all that stuff,
Okay.
the 4 letters, ENTJ, all that. It's a little bit different than that, but, so.
Was it, in your opinion, was it accurate for you?
And that's, so this is the part about it that was, and I still I need to go a little bit further with it to pinpoint it. So I started, when I did it, I thought I was a 9. I'm trying to remember the one. So a 9 is, doesn't like confrontation, will do whatever they can to get out of it, that kind of thing. When I did that, I was in a relationship with someone, that it was a bad relationship. And so, and that ended, it was rough. So then I went back and looked at it again, started answering the questions based on like current situation and then kind of how I was before I met that person. And I said, I'm not a 9. I won't avoid a confrontation. And I'm not looking for one, but I'm not going to avoid one. So I think I'm more of a 5 now. And I don't even remember what that is at this point. I need to look it up, but to give you a good answer. But
now you said this person that you know who was a coach for this.
Yeah.
So is she like using these different personality types to like help people figure out like how they should conduct themselves, or what? Like, what's the point of the personality types?
So mine, I just looked it up real quick. The investigator, basically, I want to get all the information. I need all the information, and that absolutely is true. I need, like, it pisses me off when someone wants me to help them with something but doesn't give me all the information. I need all, and I'll go think about it for a while, and then come back and give my thoughts on it. And so I think that is more me. But now, so what she does with it is she'll use it to help, you like, if you know I'm a 5, you know how I'm going to react in certain situations. So it's used a lot from what I've seen in companies, like you get to know each other, their types. Now, this person has to have all the information before they can give an answer, give you their perception of something, or how they would work through a process. So if you keep anything from them, it's going to piss them off. Or this person is the helper. They do this. So if you know how each other interacts and what their personality types, their Enneagram numbers are, and their basic beliefs and stuff, then they can, it creates a more cohesive team from what I've seen and what research I've looked at. That's
interesting. I never heard about that before, ever.
Yeah. It's pretty good stuff, and it's pretty spot on. And then of course, and by no means am I an expert, but there are wings in that. So under stress, certain numbers will tend to gravitate toward another number. And then in like euphoric situations, that same number will tend to go to another number. So it kind of, it's a lot of stuff.
That's interesting. Hey, Jake, I learned something new today.
So did I, and I'm actually in the middle of a test right now. So
yeah,
Jake,
same.
Take the test, yeah.
Let us go.
Now, your result is just the beginning of it, because there are some of the questions you won't be 100%. It'll be kind of this way or that. And so you'll be like, it'll say you're this percentage 9 or this, maybe not even percent, but you're this, and this. And so then you've kind of narrowed it down to 2 or 3 different ones. And then you've got to kind of, filter through some stuff to get close to what you actually are.
I'm finding myself in the middle a lot in this test.
Yeah. And that's, I've got a minor in psychology, so I love messing with people. I do it as much as I can. But those two, doing that in college, we did a lot of those kind of tests. And when I took abnormal psych, and it was the DSM-4, but we would go through those, and we would take those tests, personality tests, this test, that test, and those answers down the middle are the worst ones. You do not get good results with that because you don't have the extreme, the good or bad, whatever. And so I would, if I knew I was going to do that, I would answer based on that kind of situation. So I'd mess with people on those results.
You evil man.
I love it. I worked with it at Advanced Auto Parts for 13 years. And I was a GM for about 4 or 5 years before I became a teacher. And I would go out and I would be doing stuff on the floor, resetting merchandise or whatever. And I would see customers come in, and if I didn't feel like talking to them, I wanted to get my work done, I would just start talking to myself and having arguments. Why are you doing that? You know better to put that there. You're going to get fired. And just talk crazy. And I would look, and the customers would avoid me. They would walk around. It was hilarious.
I thought you were doing that.
It was hilarious. They did. I'm sure they did. And I'm the manager of the store. It's hilarious.
Great. I think the only personality type test that I ever took, and it was the last one I ever did, was it's that test that they use to test for psychopathy. It's from Robert Hare, a psychologist. I think it's called the Hare psychopathy test or something.
Okay.
Or no, it's the Hare psychopathy checklist. And FBI, what do you call them? Personality analysts will use it.
Yeah.
For
profilers.
Criminal. Yeah. And so I took this test, and it was you may have psychopathy. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm never taking a personality test ever again. Oh, man. I should probably retake that test.
Yeah.
All my results are in.
Oh, what's your results, Jake? You got?
Yeah, let's see.
I'm an 8.
Okay.
And in a nutshell, that's the topic. In a nutshell, it really makes me sound like a dick. So I'll read the first line.
8s are though. I mean, I some of our teachers they talk about it. If they go ahead, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. You can continue.
No, I want you talk.
So, all right, the first sentence. 8s are motivated by the desire to be independent and to take charge of themselves and others.
Yep.
I feel like a dick. Because now I'm thinking about it.
But
it's
think
me.
about it. We need all different types of people. If you're in a room full of, let me see. Helpers. Nobody's going to take charge. If you have all the number 9s, the peacemakers, you've got to have different types. So somebody takes charge. You have leaders, you have followers, you have people that will, add to it. I mean, so you have to have the diversity or you're not going to get anything done.
I think with this next sentence, Jesse, you're probably going to understand more than anybody else. It says 8s have assertive personalities and are passionate about their life, and they want to pursue their own destiny, obtaining their goals and dreams, no matter what risks to take, and they will do anything to make sure that happens. Jesse, how many times have I texted you in the last week about my ideas that I have?
Almost every day.
Yeah, that's, so I think it's pretty true.
Yeah.
All right, I got mine too.
You're a
I
2.
love it.
That's
I'm a
funny.
1.
What's
What's
that
a
mean?
1?
Ones are defined by their belief that everything must be in order and by feeling that they must always be right.
Is that you, Jeremy? Take that as a yes.
Yeah, ones are typically the perfectionists.
Ooh, that is you.
They show great commitment and determination to prove conditions that they find need improvement, and they are forward in encouraging others to improve their performance too.
You do encourage.
I gotta go.
He's just gone. And the call ended.
Jesse, did you take your quiz?
No, I'm actually retaking the psychopathy test. So I'm starting to worry. I'm like, that was like 5 years ago.
What were those, what are the tests in school that make you take, like, high school? Well, middle school, too. I guess I took mine in 8th grade. Is it like a future...
dog? I don't know.
Sorry. Future, like, career path type of test?
Yeah, I don't remember the name of it, but yeah, we still kind of, I don't think it's a test as much anymore as it is like, what would you like to do type thing.
I always got Forest Ranger and Garbage Man.
I think I got Garbage Man.
Always those two.
Ranger and a garbage man?
Yeah, it means I'm probably
Okay,
boring.
Ranger, yes. 100%.
Like, Park Ranger
what do you
was
like,
always number
trash
1.
or something?
Well, no, Park Ranger
I like
was number
garbage.
1 because I love the outdoors. Number 2 was Garbage Man, probably because I said I didn't like school. I don't know. I mean, school was great. I loved science and I loved geography, and the rest of my topics I didn't care about. But that's just me.
U.S. history for me. That was the only one I liked.
I wish I would have been able to take that test.
Your mom never gave you that test?
No.
I'm talking with her.
I'm going to have her on this podcast one day.
Oh, Lord.
Telling you. I'm going to have my mom on this podcast. She's going to blow our minds.
She might.
She's going to be like, yes, I'm Jesse's mom, and you guys are idiots. Bring that Dave guy back on. He was nice. Yeah, Dave, I don't know if I can't remember if I've ever told you, but my mother was my teacher my whole life. I was homeschooled. I'd never set foot in a school before. Like, the running joke is I never had a prom. I always feel like such a fucking loser.
No.
You didn't just put a tuxedo on and stand outside for a minute?
Well, who am I going to dance with? My sister? Like, I mean, I had a sister and 2 brothers. I mean, I guess I could have danced with the one, but he turned out to be, gay, so I don't think that would have been very good. He would have liked
acceptable.
And I'm only bringing him up because he listens to every episode of our podcast, so shout out to my big gay bro. Love you.
Shout out to your, what's his name? I don't want to call him the G word.
John.
Okay. Well, don't you have 2?
Yeah, John and Josh.
Okay, I was going to say they're both not named John. That'd be weird. Then again.
John 1 and John 2.
Shout out to John and Dave for listening to all our podcasts, even the shitty ones.
John and John. Yeah, my brother will actually, like, while he listens to an episode, he'll text me his thoughts on what we're saying. And, like, the first 3 times he did it, I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then it got to the point where, like, he was actually picking apart what I was saying.
Oh, no.
And then he was, like, doing, like, what a brother would normally do.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, bro, thanks for your feedback. But no, seriously, he actually had some really good points. And I'm going to get you on here, John. You wait.
So now he's going to text you about talking shit about him on the podcast.
Probably.
That's all right. Done with your test yet? I want to know your results.
So funny enough, the first question on the psychopathy checklist is, are you a compulsive liar? And I keep wondering if I should just lie through the test. And then I'm like, oh shit, I should probably restart the entire test and say that I'm a compulsive liar. Because I'm like, I could probably lie about that, and I wonder what it would come up with.
You're a compulsive
I guess
liar.
forcing myself to be honest here.
Oh, Lord. And this is usually how the last half hour of the podcast goes.
Shit, it's normally the last hour. The first 15 minutes is like an introduction. Next 20 is we actually talk briefly on what we wanted to talk about. And then it's normally me going down a rabbit hole, crashing, burning, and then this for the last hour.
Did we bring up cooking?
No.
What?
Okay, well, if you don't pay attention, I pay attention. You know that nifty little survey you have everybody fill out?
Yeah.
Dave put in his that one of his topics he'd like to talk about is cooking. So I'd like to pick his brain on some cooking.
Oh, dude, I thought you said cookie.
Cooking.
Yeah, I'm like, cookie?
Like,
is that a name of something? Like a pet?
To cook. No, not cooking.
Yeah, Dave used to. Come on, I need to get back to it. He used to post shit he would eat, and it looked really good.
I need to post. Matter of fact, I'm glad you said that. I made a couple of homemade pizzas last night, or 2 nights ago. So yeah, I'll put that on there.
So do you actually know? I mean, from what I've seen, you look like you know how to cook really well.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
That's good.
Yeah, the first time I do any new dish, I go by the recipe. So I'll look at the recipe, follow the recipe, get it in my head, and then I'm thinking through what I would adjust or how I would change it as I'm going through it. The next time, I probably don't use a recipe. Maybe, depending on how complex the recipe is, I might look at it again, but typically one time, and then I'm like just going through it.
What do you think you make the best? Like, if you had to make a meal for Gordon Ramsay, what would it be?
I wouldn't make shit for him.
You're like, I wouldn't even do it.
No. He would.
That's a fair answer.
He would be like John. He would be picking it apart. No, I had a friend over and made bourbon glazed salmon and mushroom risotto. So, like, I can go from...
You definitely know how to cook because you just use the word risotto and glaze in the same sentence. That sounds delicious.
Yeah.
I don't even like seafood, and I got hungry from that.
But, yeah, I used to, when my kids were little, I would try to get them in the kitchen with me, but I would always act like, because I watched a lot of food shows, Food Network shows or cooking shows and stuff. And I would put it on, even on the plates, I would put it on the plates and present it all fancy and stuff. And they're like, Dad, why are you doing this? I'm like, it's the whole thing. Like, I want it to be nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So.
It
took.
Sorry, go ahead.
It took me becoming a single parent to really appreciate and find a love for cooking, because I like to eat, but fast food gets old, and nothing against it. I still eat fast food, but I mean when I will. There are times where I want to cook my meal tonight, and I'll go a little longer and be a little extra hungry just to get that, knowing that I made this meal and I prepared it, type thing. So
there is like a huge difference between like picking up carry out somewhere, but then like instead of that, you're coming home and you're already hungry when you get home, and you take that extra time to make a meal and then you sit down and eat it. It tastes so much better.
It does. You appreciate
so much better.
Yeah.
I mean, because I'm not going to lie, I like fast food burgers. Those are hella good. But there's nothing like coming home and like preparing like a ribeye.
Absolutely. Oh, dude, I look at your Oh yeah, your post, man. I'm like, God, I need to go get a steak.
It's steak like every other day.
Yeah.
I can't live without it. So Jake, I got my results in.
Oh boy,
this is not good. You may have to edit this out, and just in case this is used against me later on.
Well, you're a compulsive liar.
Now remember, this is not like a BuzzFeed test. This is the Robert D. Hare psychopathy checklist, which is used by government agencies. So I have an 83% psychopathic interpersonal style. I have a 92% psychopathic lifestyle. I have a 56% overt antisocial feature. My total psychopathy score is 75%. This makes me generally 65.5% more psychopathic than the average person. And then in very small letters at the very bottom, as if they don't want you to see, they say, congratulations, you qualify as a psychopath on the psychopathy checklist.
I'm not even surprised.
Where'd you go to take that? I want to take it.
Until my fiance listens to this podcast.
Do you really
what
think
do you mean you're a psychopath?
You think she'll be taken back?
Probably
not.
It's okay. I won't care, though, because I'm a psychopath.
Where do you find this?
That's true.
That's funny. Man, and I actually thought I was doing pretty well.
Where do you find this test?
Google psychopathic test.
Yeah, just Google Hare psychopathy checklist. You'll pull it up. There's a couple sites that have it.
Don't use BuzzFeed.
Yeah, please don't go to anything on BuzzFeed because you're going to find a bunch of fake ones. Because I just did while I was trying to actually find it. The one that I found was linked from www.idrlabs.com, which is a reputable site.
And not to get off topic, but going back to the previous topic, I went on Dave's Instagram, and that omelet that you had with the avocado on top.
Yeah, that's
you know.
I love breakfast foods. I could eat those all day long. Pancakes, waffles, eggs, sausage, bacon, everything. Omelets.
I'm kind of ashamed I have to go to bed after this. I'm hungry now.
You just wish you could eat.
Yeah, I do. Self-control.
My significant other made some delicious breakfast bowls this morning. We had some chopped up. I'm sorry, Dave. Some diced bacon. We had some diced bacon with some grease reduction. No, we had some bacon. We had some potatoes. We had eggs. A little bit of cheddar cheese on there. That was delicious. Then I had some oatmeal toast. You ever had oatmeal toast, Jake?
No.
It's pretty good.
Oatmeal on toast?
Come on. No, it's a bread that is derived from. It's like the basis of the bread is oatmeal, and it's a very thick bread. It's like heavy. Like you can tell it's like heavier than a normal slice of bread. It's very filling, but it tasted really good.
It'd probably be good. I'd like oatmeal.
Shout out to my significant other,
Mrs. D.
Even though she's literally in the other room. She could probably just hear me saying this. Oh, shit. That means she heard me about the whole psychopath thing. All right, guys. Well, it was nice talking to you.
Hey, did you, well, what I'm about to ask, this could be a good segue for Dave real quick, but did you ever find out about the mirror? Did you do any more scientific experiments?
Oh, yeah. I was going to ask you about that.
Yes, Jesse, we're talking to you.
I was not listening.
The mirror.
The mirror that came to life and rolled out of the room and down the hall.
The what?
The mirror
that jumped off the wall and ended up by your daughter's door.
It's like a Disney cartoon.
Dave, that makes me really happy that you remembered that.
Yeah.
It's cool. It's nice to have one fan. Yeah, nothing really besides see I say nothing has happened since then, but there's weird stuff that happens all the time that it's kind of like normal. So like even today, my spouse was at her parents' house, so she wasn't home, and I decided to take a little nap in our bedroom, and my daughter was in her bedroom, which is down the hall. And she was, I think when I left her in there, she was like watching something on her tablet. And when my daughter is watching the tablet in her bed, she does not move. Like, she won't move unless it's bathroom time or I ask her to get out of bed. Like, she'll just be like a rock. Well, this is kind of like a regular thing. I'm laying in bed and I'm drifting off to sleep, and I felt like in the bed and in the floor, someone was walking into the bedroom. And it didn't, I mean, I feel like this happens all the time, like whether or not my daughter's home or not. And so I just automatically assumed that it was my daughter, and I turn around and there's nobody there. So then I'm like, okay, she probably saw me turning over, because I was facing the opposite wall. She probably saw me turning over and just scooted down the hall. So I like get up, go to her bedroom. She's just sitting in her bed with her blankets over her, watching the tablet. And I'm like, okay. Like, but I don't say like that's like super weird anymore, because that stuff like happens. And I remember, I think I said it on that paranormal episode, like that's like normal occurrences here in the condo. Like, it always feels like someone's walking into the bedroom, and there never is anybody walking into the bedroom. So, but that happened today. I don't even know if, did that even answer your question? Were you asking me if there was like an update on anything? Is that what you were asking me originally?
Yeah, the mirror.
Okay. Yeah, there is no update on the mirror, so I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's the only update that I have for the paranormal. It's just phantom footsteps.
All right, I got my thing, Jesse.
Ooh, Jeremy's got his results.
I'm not a psychopath.
That's good.
43%.
Please make sure that your fiance listens to this episode.
Yeah, 43% total psychopathy.
Psychopathy, but I forgive you.
Psychopathy.
Psychopathy.
Listen, shut up.
I love you.
But yeah, not a psychopath.
That's it.
Well, that's good, though. I mean, I'm glad. I mean, that's good that there's only one psychopath on the podcast. That's good.
Well, Jake hasn't taken it, so...
I mean, because... Jake's not a psychopath.
Thank you.
Look at him. He's glowing. He's like an angel.
I wouldn't go that far.
Look at him. He's heavenly.
I'm heavy, not heavenly.
Oh, damn. Yeah, well, you said it. I didn't say that.
Close enough. So, Dave, have you had any paranormal encounters? Possible paranormal encounters?
Yeah, I think so. It's been a while, so I don't remember exactly, but similar to what Jesse has said. Like, I'll be alone in the house or something and feel the vibrations of someone walking or something like that, or go leave a room, lights off, come back later, lights on. Those things have happened to me before.
That's weird. I've never had that happen before.
Yeah. So,
see, that would actually creep me out.
Yeah.
I'm just used to footsteps. You flick a light on me.
And mirrors like going around the house, checking things out.
Well, that was like one of the
that would freak me out
in general.
Yeah, that would like.
Yeah, I might move if that happens again.
I would say so.
Just so it can happen at the next house that I live in.
It's just attached to you. It's just attached to you, probably. So.
Yeah, it's probably in that mirror.
Yeah, I guess we could just like throw the mirror away, but we never thought about that. We're like, oh, it's a nice mirror. It's only slightly haunted. It only moves on its own. It's no big deal.
Maybe whatever's attached to you is where your psychopathy comes from. You ever thought about that?
It's psychopathy, so...
Yes, thank you, Jeremy. Psychopathy. No, you see, because Jake, I'm in that like that balanced understanding that I'm not incredibly religious whatsoever, but I do believe in negative entities, if that makes sense.
So you're a psychopath.
Makes sense.
Like I believe, like I believe in like extremely negative energy. I can call it that and get away with it. Like, I believe that's a thing. I don't want to call it.
I know where you're going.
Yeah, I don't want to say the D word. I don't want to call it demon because I don't want to scare anybody.
You just said it.
I know. That was the point. Because now Jake's not going to go to sleep tonight.
No, I'm not. What do you want, Jeremy?
Carter, why are you raising your hand? What do you want?
I clicked it again. I didn't mean to click it. Shut up.
Can you just, like, sit on your hands? You don't need them. All you got to do is just talk. Like, how does your hand keep floating up to the button?
Shut up.
But yeah, to answer your question, Jake, that depends on who you ask. If you ask, like, an extremely, like, close-minded person who's religious, then they would probably say, like, that boy's got a demon in him. But if you ask someone who's open-minded, be like, yeah, he's just a weird guy who happens to hear phantom footsteps in this house. It's nothing abnormal about that.
It's not the demons.
I mean, Dave hears footsteps in his house. Andy's religious.
That's right.
See?
Just talking about, like, going back to the paranormal, just the first thing my mind goes to is the haunted house. Where'd your furniture go, cuz? That's the only thing that pops into my head every time we talk about paranormal.
You would think about that.
I don't even like the movie that much. It's just that one
Your brain
scene.
does, because you just brought it up.
It's just that one scene.
With zero effort.
Who was that in that scene? Was that Xavier Belcher?
Aww. That dude doesn't even have social media. He's never going to be able to hear us talk shit about him.
I showed him the podcast.
When he visits Jeremy can play that little bit right there.
Like, hey, Mr. Belcher, I have to show you something.
Mr. That's nice.
And we're right on par for Table Talk podcast.
What? Jeremy, are you closing us out without
No,
asking?
I was just saying we're on par for it because we're just totally off topic now.
That's fine, though, because we're
just
having
long
good conversation.
gone.
So, yeah, disregard you. Dave, you ever had any, like, you... I look over and I just see this massive middle finger in the screen.
Yeah.
You ever had any UFO experiences? Do you believe in UFOs?
I do. Well, yeah, you can't believe in aliens and not believe in UFOs.
I have met people. No, I've met people.
Well, I shouldn't say can't. Yeah, I shouldn't say can't. But I think it would be irrational to believe in one and not the other.
I totally agree.
So,
totally agree.
I think it seems like I've seen the floating orb type thing. Not explain, you see it and then it's gone. But it's very minimal. Once or twice, maybe.
You've seen this yourself?
Yeah.
This is incredible. I got to hear this story.
Yeah, you just piqued his interest.
Yeah, I mean, I'm outside, it's dark, nighttime, I'm looking up at the stars and stuff and see, what I thought at first was a star. It wasn't close by any means, but and then it just takes off, and it's not like it's constantly moving like an airplane light.
Right.
So, I'm like, and it's not a shooting star because they don't just sit there and then take off. So, what other explanation is there?
I would lean to UFO. Then again, I believe in them, so.
Right.
I want to have a UFO experience.
Yeah, you're the first. This is the first person I met that's, come forward and said, yeah, I think I've had one.
That's interesting.
The only other person.
I've had like orb experience. Sorry, Jake.
You're good. Go ahead.
I've had orb experiences, but like I associated those experiences with like some type of paranormal energy, not aliens, because like that's the setting I was in when I would see some type of orb-like thing. Because I remember, I think I mentioned it on the podcast before, I saw what some people would consider to be like a specter. And it was like this red orb that shot out of a grave and kind of just launched itself up in the air in front of us. And it was really, really weird.
Yeah.
So like I obviously, based on the environment I was in the middle of a graveyard. I just associated that with like, holy shit, I think that was just a ghost. Um, but I don't know what I would do. I would lose my mind if I was like, like say like Jake, you and I are like out in the woods or something, and then we look up and we see an orb like up in the sky. That would be crazy.
That'd be a cool experience.
So if the aliens are listening, help us out a little bit.
Right. Well, I've always joked and told people I work with that if I don't come to work one day, that they've come and gotten me from the Empire. I'm now a part of the Imperial fleet or something.
You're a stormtrooper.
I'm gone. No, I'm not a stormtrooper. No, I'm not a stormtrooper.
What's wrong with stormtroopers?
Well, nothing. But I'm a Sith Lord, so I'm
okay. I'm not psychopath in the room here.
I'm going to be an apprentice to Vader or something.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad that we have this documented in audio, that if this dude ever goes missing, we're showing this clip to the police and be like, dude, the Empire got him. Like,
that's right. They came. Yeah. They came.
He warned us 10 years ago.
Yeah, they finally have realized, hey, we need this guy.
He's hanging out with Vader. The guy like wanted a souffle or something, so they abducted Dave.
That's right. I'm Vader's personal chef.
He's cooking on the Death Star.
Yes.
Oh, that's great.
I'm glad you didn't breeze right over that, because that's like how a horror movie starts. Every one of them. Hey, if I'm gone, they came and got me.
That's right.
Yeah, like we're just letting you know, like 100%, we're gonna use this clip if anything ever happens to you, and we may make a little money off of it, but we're gonna try, because this is good. That's good content we just got from you. So thanks.
Yeah, no problem.
Also, I hope you never go missing, but if you do, thank you.
Yeah. I hope I don't either, but if I do, I hope it's for that reason.
Yeah, because you wouldn't be mad.
That's right.
You'd be like, oh, what's happened to me? Oh, okay.
That's right.
Oh, this is all right. That's funny. I'm glad you're on the dark side. They have all the cool powers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's always been a thought of mine ever since I was a little kid. I had the tendency to see the dark side guys as almost the good guys. It was weird.
Yeah.
Especially when this may isolate. Jake, are you into Star Wars?
No, but I see that psychopathy is coming up. So go ahead.
Psychopathy. No, so when Darth Sidious starts talking about how there was a Sith Lord back in the day that was learning how to bring people back from the dead or heal ones that he loved.
Yeah.
And like the Jedi Council had a problem with that. Like I had a problem that the Jedi Council had a problem with that, because I'm like, what's wrong with that? He's just trying to bring back somebody he loves. Yeah. They're like, no, that's evil. We can't do that.
That's right.
And I have a problem with that. I mean, like maybe the dark side isn't so dark.
Well, my son and I have this. He is well versed in Star Wars, and we have this conversation every now and then about depending on your perspective, the Empire was the good guys. They're trying to create peace in the galaxy, and so yeah, we've talked about that a lot. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Peace and order, and I just.
They are about it, though. I've had that argument before with a couple people that like the Empire, sure, they occupy a lot of planets, and maybe they blow up a couple. But they're all about having order, because when there's no order, there's chaos.
They're not the good guys, but they peace and order, and we're here. A lot of planets, they were going to help. They helped them. They provided for them and stuff, and
they brought economy.
Yeah.
They brought structure. Jake and Jeremy are probably bored out of their fucking minds right now.
No, I'm just enjoying the fact that there's a train going behind you right now.
Yeah, I know there's a train, but you can't pause a Star Wars conversation. I mean,
Dude,
like
I had
Ted said,
tears
because it's
in
not
my
like
eyes.
you're not gonna get two dudes on a podcast anytime soon talking about how the Empire were doing good things.
Yeah. Well, Palpatine foresaw the Yuzang Vong. Is that how you say it?
What?
The people that were coming to take over.
Yuzan Vong?
Yuzan Vong. Yeah, I knew I didn't say it right. And he was preparing for that invasion. And when the rebels and those destroyed the Death Star and got rid of all that opened the door for them to come in and take over. But yeah,
Those damn rebels.
That's right. Do you read any of the books, the novels, Jesse?
The older ones, like from back in like the 90s, yeah, I did read quite a bit of Star Wars novels as a kid. I haven't read anything beyond like 99. Like anything beyond that is when I, probably haven't read anything on it. I have like for quite a few years, like years ago, I would always peruse like Wikipedia and just get lost. And I also, so actually the only books that I have right now that I'm thinking about it, I have the Bounty Hunter's Guide. That was generally written by all those different bounty hunters. I do have the Book of the Sith, which I've read before, which is it's a really interesting book because it's done by like different Sith lords.
That's right.
I do have, I can't remember, I think it's called the Book of the Jedi.
Yeah.
It's the one, I can't remember it because I didn't actually read all of it because I was like, this is all boring.
Yeah.
And then I do have the, I think it was the Empire's, what is it? It's a Stormtrooper like handbook or something. It's black. It was like all in a set. And it was like these like realistically written fan fiction like books. They were really fun to read. I got those maybe like 6 years ago.
Nice. So you're talking about the Sith Lord that was learned how to bring people back or save their loved ones. That was Plagueis, who was Sidious's master, and that book basically sets up the whole prequels and how Sidious came to be and how that whole underlying the backdoor stuff that he did and how he set up that whole takeover with the Senate and everything. That book sets all of that. It's really good if you get a chance to read it. I went to a yard sale not too long ago and probably tripled my collection of novels.
Oh wow!
On Star Wars.
That's quite a score for a garage sale.
It is. Well, when I saw it posted, I was like, wait, that's a picture. Wait, there are Star Wars stuff in that. I didn't even, I was out the door and gone. It was right around the corner from where I live. I was like, I got to get there before it's gone. Picked up about a 4 foot by 3 foot fat head of the Millennium Falcon. It's awesome. And then, I don't know if you can, I'm going to show you this. I don't know if you can see it. On my wall.
Oh, I see that. Is that Endor?
Yeah.
With the Death Star?
The Death Star, yeah. So
that's really sad. My significant other is going to make fun of me so bad that I was able to identify a planet by that one tree.
You nerd.
Yeah. That's right.
I saw the cap of that pine and I'm like, well, it's obviously Endor.
Yeah.
Nerd.
But
that's great.
So,
that's a really cool picture you got.
Yeah.
I'm going to come to your house and take it. So.
Come on. Yeah, well, you can come down and enjoy it, but you won't leave with it.
Fair enough. He just made a subtle threat. Like, yeah. Oh, man. That's funny. Yeah, this is another reason why you and I got along so well in the beginning. Because we were both Star Wars nerds. I think it was like you saw my Star Wars blueprint schematic mug.
Yeah.
And you're like, bro, check out my mugs. And you sent me a picture of all these Star Wars mugs. I'm like, wow, look at this fucking nerd. But no, I was like, dude,
That's right.
this dude's got way more Star Wars shit than I do.
I love Star Trek too.
Yeah, you need to leave.
I can't hear you.
Star Trek, come on.
Ooh, no.
You gotta ruin the conversation with Trek.
No, I was just being a smart
The only thing that I liked, even remotely pertaining to Star Trek, was the newer movies that came out, and I saw them in theater. And like action movie wise, they were great.
Yeah.
Lore wise, Star Trek sucks.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you have
watched either of them,
Coke, and then you have a Diet Coke, but like a Diet Coke that's room temp.
Yeah, Diet
So
Coke
not even
Zero.
cold.
That's room temp.
And the other one's a McDonald's Coke.
Star Wars is like the McDonald's Coke. McDonald's Coke is good, right?
Yeah, it's like the best Coke you could ever get.
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, like Star Trek would be like not that.
It's like Sprite.
I never watched either of them, so.
Hey, Sprite is hella good.
If you're a kid.
Well,
It's
perhaps
delicious.
I'm a big psychopathic kid. You know what? Screw you, Jake. I'm gonna have a Sprite tonight. How about that? I'm gonna have a Sprite with some vodka. How about that?
Okay.
Yeah,
No,
like
better.
a big kid sucking on my vodka. So it's safe to say that we are probably going to bring this podcast to a close because Jeremy has not opened his eyes in 30 seconds.
He's asleep.
Yeah, Jeremy's actually asleep. He's running on
No,
a
I'm not
lullaby.
asleep.
Sorry to put you to sleep, Jeremy.
No, you
Yeah,
didn't. You didn't.
Dave, I hope that we were able to have some constructive conversations tonight. I enjoyed myself.
Absolutely, yeah, I did too.
It was actually really cool. So, like, the guys may not know this, but Jake and Jeremy, this is actually the first time that Dave and I have actually, like, spoken to each other, like, audibly. It's normally through, like, messages or, like, short videos we used to send to each other. So, yeah, it was actually really good to, like, physically have a conversation with you, not just a, hello, how you doing? It was really nice to talk to you.
Yeah, it was you too.
So, yeah, we appreciate you coming on again on such short notice. Well, if we see that our subscribers lessens by 1 by the morning, we'll know that you had a bad time.
No.
You like get off of the podcast and you're like, these guys are fucking weirdos.
I mean, he's not wrong, though.
One of them sleeps during the podcast. The other guy keeps leaving. The other one's a psychopath.
It
It's
sounds
just
like my kind of guys.
It's a good ragtag group of guys.
That's right.
You're like the only mature one in the group. No, Jake's. You know what, Jake? You're pretty mature.
Thank you.
You're pretty mature.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's probably like if you didn't have such a monotone voice, you'd be a little less mature. But your
This
voice
is
really,
my voice.
yeah, it's your voice, and it kind of carries you into maturity.
I could be like a shitty narrator.
No comment.
No, but for real though, Dave, it was fun talking to you because Jesse sent us the questionnaire you filled out, and I mean, lifting, woodworking, cooking. I was like, wow, we could pretty much talk about anything.
Yeah.
So we'll have to have you back on again. We can dive a little deeper into some more of those topics.
Absolutely. I'd enjoy it.
Yeah, I definitely want to learn more about that personality classifier, and I totally forgot the word. What was it?
Enneagram.
Enneagram?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was interesting. I've never heard about that before. Like, I never looked into that ever. That's interesting.
Yeah.
It's always good to learn something new from our guests.
Well, I'm glad I could provide that.
Yeah, you taught us well, Dave.
Before you take off, Dave, go ahead and tell all those 4 listeners where they can find your pages, Instagram, Twitter. What exactly do you have now?
Instagram, Dirtyfoot Woodworking for any woodworking stuff, and then Mr. K, Sith Lord, for like just general other stuff.
Perfect.
Jeremy, would you like to close us out?
Go right ahead, Jesse.
No, because I said Jeremy.
We do this every week.
You want to see how this is done professionally, Jeremy?
All right.
Go fuck yourself.
3, 2, 1.
For Jeremy, for Jesse, for our guest, David Kennedy, thank you again for coming on. I am Jake. You can catch us on YouTube, Spotify, Anchor, Apple, and Google Podcast at Table Talk Podcast. Also, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, find us and like us on Facebook, Table Talk Entertainment. Be sure to come back and see some more content on this podcast. We continue to grow. Dave, it was good having you. We'll have you on again for sure. With that, Jesse, do you have any closing comments you want to make?
No.
All right. Thanks, guys, for joining us, and we'll see you next time.